Actually, today is a big feast. It's a solemnity. And 50 days, it's called Pentecost because Pentecostes means 50 days after the resurrection. And therefore, in the hierarchy of celebrations in the church, the event of the Pentecost, the event of the resurrection, the event of the ascension of the Lord into heaven, all of them are great solemnities that are meant to be fittingly reflected on, thought about, meditated upon, and celebrated justly. Now, I'd like to give you a very rapid walk through the readings. The first reading from the Acts of the Apostles tells us about the event per se and the details surrounding that event of the coming down of the Holy Spirit. The second, from the letter of Paul to the Corinthians, speaks about the effects of that event. And the gospel reading that we just heard today tells us the mission that is associated with the event, the effects of the event, and that is the mission of the church. I'd like to give you a look at certain words that can help us do a fitting reflection on today's solemnity. The first reading from the Acts tells us that all of the disciples are gathered together in one place, like we are gathered here together right now. By virtue of the fact that we are in special circumstances, a great many of your friends, of our parishioners, of Catholics, Christians all over the world, cannot afford the luxury of gathering together in one place. But I have good news and bad news for you. The good news, we are not meant to be gathered together in one place all the time. Hindi pwedeng labi-dabi lagi makakakapit ng kamay. Hindi pwedeng laging party. At hindi pwedeng laging makakatabi tayo in deep intimacy. They were all together in one place. But when the transformation brought about by the event of the sending down of the Holy Spirit, that transformation sent them for a mission. And that mission has to do with going out and sharing the gift that you have received. It is apropos today's liturgy that our theme for the 500th anniversary of our Christianization all over the islands of the Philippines is gifted in order to give. Because, truth to tell, gifts are things you receive freely, gratis et amore. Gratis et amore means freely and with love. When you give a gift because it has a hook, it's not a gift, it's an investment. When you give a gift to your teacher because you don't want a 4 in your final grade, it is not a gift, it's a bribe. But I have been in leadership for many years of my priestly life. When I was a young principal at 31 years old, there were people who would simply come into my office and put a gold watch on my desk. Those were the days when Catholic schools were sought after by just about everybody. And there was a time even when, just after the February Revolution, about 12 bodyguards of a senator barged into my office. They were all carrying clutch bags. You know what that contains. If you're a bodyguard and you're carrying a clutch bag, it doesn't contain money. And you know what it is. But anyway, they all surrounded me. I'm so small, and they were all tall, big men. And they also surrounded my desk in my old office in Don Bosco, Mandaluyong, the corner which is now located near what we call Millennium Gate. And they were pressuring me to accept the son of their officer in charge. I don't know where I got the courage, but I told them, I thought this is what we have fought for in EDSA. So if you're gonna force me, I don't know how ethical that will be in the light of what just happened that we did in EDSA, all 3 or 4 millions of us. And there's so many else who suffered in order to make this country great again. But the rest is history. You know that it didn't become great again. We're back to square one. You know that. But the point I'm saying is this. If you receive gift, then they're meant to be gifted away. Gifted in order to give. And if your definition of Christian life is gathering together only on Sundays, and for covenanted communities gathering only during prayer meetings, and putting out a spread for you to share together, and all your guests every time are your same household members, but there is no going out, there is no giving, I'm sorry, but this is not Pentecost. If our definition of Christian life is puro pakabig, God give me, God grant me, God please, but there is no output, there is no product, there is no going out, this is not the spirit of Pentecost. You know very well, those of you who have been to the Holy Land, I'm sure part of the tour brought you to the Dead Sea. And I'm sure many, if not all of us, know that the Dead Sea is called dead because it only receives. It has no outlet. It is one of the lowest portions on planet Earth, which means that it is dead because it is too salty. It cannot sustain life because there are too much minerals for comfort. And therefore it is dead. And it is dead for one and one only reason. It doesn't give. It only receives. There is no product. There is no effort. There is no going out. It is dead because it's only receiving. I'm saying this because psychologists are unanimous right now over the past 15, 20 years that there is what they call the narcissism epidemic. Puro pakabig ang tao. If you listen to young people speak to one another, somebody will say, oh, my father was very successful, he's in Dubai, and so on. Ano sagot ng mga bata? Ako nga rin eh. Ang tatay ko rin nga eh. Pagka nag-uusap ang mga tao, ay pareho ng aking naranasan, ganyan din ako. Hindi mo pa napapakinggan ang kwento ng kapitbahay mo, ng kausap mo, meron ka ng sagot. It is the I, me, and mine generation. It is the generation me. It is that narcissistic, self-centered generation that cannot give because they only want to receive. You look at history a little bit. When the so-called 4 Ps were invented by the then President Macapagal Arroyo, it was only 4 billion pesos. Do you know how much that is? I won't tell you. You do your own research. Do you think honestly that those hundreds of billions go to where they should go? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But I'm talking about the reality and the sad reality of people being trained to receive and not to give. I am saying this because the spirit of Pentecost is receiving so that you might go out and give from your want, from your poverty, from your need. And when you give from your poverty, you are the richest person, spiritually speaking. Because you can afford to give even in your want, even in your need. Because there will always be somebody more needy than you. The spirit of the Pentecost is exactly this, gifted in order to give. And we are told by John, very dramatically, I should say, on the evening of that first day of the week, which means that in John, the events are conflated into one. The resurrection, the ascension, and the sending down of the Holy Spirit. So when John, in his theological bent, says that on the evening of that first day of the week, that Sunday, when the Lord rose, when the doors were locked, because they were all gathered together in one place, Jesus came and stood in their midst and gave them the gift that we all want to have, peace. We're all fearful, we're all anxious, we're all worried. We don't know the effects of the vaccine. We don't know whom to believe. Should we believe Saldana? Should we believe Duque? Should we believe all the other doctors who say other things? Should we believe the World Health Organization, which is funded by Bill Gates, among many other big fishes in the world? We don't know whom to believe. We need the gift of the Spirit. We need this gift right now, because what we need right now is peace of mind, peace of heart, peace from within. And then the Lord showed them His hands and His side, coming from pain, coming from the reality of death and suffering and death. And then, after showing them His hands and His side, look at the effects of this on the disciples. They rejoiced when they saw the Lord. They were in good company. They knew that they had within grasp that longing that they had right from day one. And that was assurance, that was peace, that was certainty, certitude, the certitude of faith, the certitude of hope, the certitude that they are loved and that they are saved and that they are being cared for. And then He said again, peace be with you. And this is now the Pentecostal idea. As the Father has sent me, so I send you. And then the power. And this is now the most important. When He had said this, He breathed on them and said to them, receive the Holy Spirit. There are three words I'd like you to remember today. The first reading tells us about the first, transformation. Transformation happened in different ways. One, they thought they should go out and not be holding each other's hands and be on intimate footing with each other and sharing whatever little they have. That's a transformation number one. But there was another one. They spoke in different languages, but that's not the only one. They understood all other languages. It is not just glossolalia. They had the gift of understanding, that gift of speaking in tongues, that gift of understanding whatever different languages, that gift of transformation. This is the first effect of Pentecost. On the birthday of the church, that is what we should now treasure. We are empowered beyond measure, beyond belief. We are transformed. But then there is another one that the second reading speaks of, and the third reading, mission. Mission to go out and give what you were gifted with. And then the last, communion of life and love. We Catholics are very different characters. Tayo rito, lahat ng nagsisimba, lahat ng nagtatrabaho sa simbahan, lahat ng gumagawa ng apostolado rito, all of us have different characters. Some of us are bugnutin like me, but be patient with me. God is not done with me yet. Some of us are impatient. I'm also impatient. Some of us can be a little bit judgmental. Some of us are very sensitive. Some of us are talented in many ways. Some don't have talents, but they have treasure. And some have both talent and treasure and time. They all have it. Wala na ibang hahanapin pa. We are all called to serve. all called to give what you are gifted with. And no one here can say, I'm so poor, I have nothing to give. Oh no, you have the riches of your personhood. No one can say, oh, the church already has enough. No, we need more lectors, we need more catechists, we need more ushers, we need more servers, we need more evangelizers. We need you. And this is on the birthday of the church, my plea. Be transformed, be a missionary, and cultivate that communion of faith, hope, and love for being church. And as church, you are gifted. If you are gifted, go out and give in return.